Hello and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this video, we're going to be looking at 5 CO01 Organizational Performance and Culture in Practice. This is from the new June 2025 assessment, which expires in June 2026. This bite-sized video is going to focus on AC1.1, but because it's the first video of the bite-sized series for this assessment unit, what we do is we make it completely free, we cover everything, and we go into detail so that you've got a plan of action and you understand what's expected of you when studying this unit. So let's get into it. So about this unit assessment examines connections between organizational structure and the wider world of work and business context. It highlights the factors and trends, including the digital environment, that impact business strategy and workforce planning, recognizing the influence of culture, well-being, and behavior in delivering change to organizational performance. The task that you have in this assessment is you will be set 12 questions, each relating to the case study. And the case study is critical in these new CIPD assessments. You have to reference the case study in every answer, otherwise refer. So your answer should respond accurately to the question and should be informed by wider reading from key academic texts, articles, and relevant publications. References should be included with your answers, full details presented in a bibliography at the end of your assessment. Please ensure that your work is presented clearly, typically using subheadings or AC references. What they mean by that is you write AC 1.1 and then your answer, AC 1.2, then your answer underneath, so that the marker can follow it in a consistent and structured manner. And that your work compiles to the word count required. Now, this is a task of 1 to 12 questions. You have 4,550 words, and that equates to 379.16 words per AC. You can go 10% off if you exceed the word count by 10%, your work will be referred. Now, that's not per question. Not like if you've done like 425 words, it'll refer. It's as an overall. So you have 4,550 words. You can go 10% over, 1 word over, refer. And full details and reference list should be provided in your assessment. So just a reminder, you have to pass every single AC. It's not a case that you can pass 11 of the 12 ACs and get a 2 and go forward and stuff like that. You have to pass every single one. So you're going to go all the way through that, and we will cover some of the assessment and marking criteria after we've covered the case study. So Calmere House provides respite and residential care for adults with care needs. Established in 1974 by David and Anne Calmere House ethos is centered around high quality care with a personal touch. David and Anne's daughter Kirsten took over the business in 2002 when David and Anne retired. Kirsten's consultative management style is similar to that of her parents, where she values the employee input into management decisions, as employees have qualifications, skills, and experience in their specialist fields of work. Kirsten holds regular staff meetings as well as one-to-one check-ins. The purpose of these meetings is to communicate information about the progress of Calmere House against its business goals in the gain of view of employees and the best way to achieve their goals. So really collaborative effort. The nursing staff hold handover meetings at the end of each shift and work well as a team. Employee retention is high. The employees feel strong engagement and commitment to the residents, the co-workers, and Kirsten. When an employee leaves, co-workers participate in the selection process with behaviours viewed as just as being important as qualifications and experience. Onboarding includes details of the history of Calmere House, with Kirsten telling stories about how her parents founded the company and sold their own home to raise the money needed. Policies and procedures limited with an informal ad hoc approach in this place. Calmere has a flat organizational structure with all 42 employees reporting directly to Kirsten. After more than 2 decades of running the care home, Kirsten has now decided she would like to pursue her own rather than her parents' interests. In addition, Kirsten is worried about continuing increases in utility and staff costs and feel these may compromise residential care. Kirsten decides to sell the business and use the money raised to start her own business spa and wellness centre. After great deliberation, Kirsten decides to sell Calmere House to Chaffinch Group, a large care home company. Kirsten feels that Chaffinch Group have the resources to invest in much needed refurbishment of residents' rooms. And her employees with greater job security. Now, it's not over. The sale goes ahead. Kirsten advises employees that the sale and explains why it was necessary. Employees are shocked, find it hard to believe that the sale will go ahead as Kirsten has managed the business with passion and Carlmere House was the focus of her life. Chaffinch Group appoints a manager, Kath, who worked at Chaffinch Group for 5 years, and the company starts to refurbish the rooms. Chaffinch Group changed the organizational structure to a hierarchical, bureaucratic structure. The workforce reports to Kath. Kath reports to one of 8 area managers, who report to 2 general managers, who report to an operations director. Kath's management style is autocratic. She gives instructions and expects them to be followed without discussion. When challenged by her employees, she responds to, "I know what Chaffinch Group wants, and they want to see a return on their investment." Chaffinch Group introduces same policies and procedures as Carlmere House in place throughout the rest of the group, advising employees of these by email. The people team at Chaffinch Group consists of a people manager, a recruitment advisor, and an employee relations case advisor, and an administrator. Residents are becoming disgruntled. Initially, they welcome the idea of room refurbishments, but have found that the rooms now lack individual character and all look the same. Previously, permanent residents could choose colour schemes and the decor of their decor, and great care was taken to ensure that the residents' preferences were actioned. As time goes on, employees start to leave as they do not like the new culture. They are often replaced by agency workers. Kath notifies the agency of the requirements for the role. Agency workers' qualifications and experiences are checked, and the agency workers are offered work. Chaffinch Group does not undertake any further assessment of their suitability. In addition to employee turnover increasing, sickness absence has also risen. Existing employees are starting to feel hopeless and are becoming more dissatisfied as they find their workloads have increased as they cover absences. They miss the support of co-workers who have left. And they no longer hours to reduce the impact of residents. They feel their views and opinions are no longer sought or valued, and they no longer want the business. They're no longer involved in the business planning or how it will affect them. Overall, employees feel that the change in ownership is not positive and has not been managed well. Chaffinch Group is also unhappy. Carlmere House is not generating the income anticipated due to long-term residents choosing to move to alternative care homes, and difficulty in attracting new permanent residents and new respite care residents. Chaffinch Group are wondering why a previously stable workforce now has a high employee turnover, and why Carlmere House has changed from a care home that had a waiting list of potential residents to one with empty rooms. Chaffinch Group has set the goal to fill 100% of residents' rooms within 6 months. Now, I'm definitely not going to read this to you every time. I'm going to pause and let you read this one. But as you can see, there's been a big organizational change. There's big structures, there's big changes that are going on. And your job is to look at this and critically evaluate what is going on. What recommendations would you give? What is it that you're looking to do with this particular organization? How can you guide them through the next stage of their evolution and what they need? So, as mentioned, we're going to focus primarily on a pass. Because if you shoot for a pass and you slightly miss, you get a low pass. If you go above and beyond, you get a high pass. But the word count, 379 words per AC, probably isn't going to allow you to shoot for high passes all the way through. So if we aim for a pass, we overachieve, we get a high pass. We underachieve, we get a low pass. As mentioned previously, you have to get a low pass on every single AC. So let's gun for the pass. And worst case, you might get a referral and get some slight tweaks. But the pass demonstrate a good level of knowledge and understanding. Include good example or examples where required to support the answer. Include evidence of good level of reading and research. Includes use of at least one reference for each assessment criteria where this is required. Makes good reference to the case study. Case study is essential. Directly addresses the question/task and is well expressed, and has a good format structure that meets the requirements set out in the brief. AC1.1, answer underneath AC1.2. That's the structure we're going for. Okay. Let's move into it. AC1.1. Evaluate to the extent that flat structure was a flat non-hierarchical structure was appropriate under Kirsten's ownership, to the extent the hierarchical bureaucratic structure is suitable under Chaffinch Group ownership. Now, as you can see, as what we do here is we highlight some of the keywords and stuff like that so that you've got a bit of a plan of action. Now, what you're trying to do is you're evaluating and looking at the strengths and weaknesses. But if you look at the secondary text, it's saying evaluate to the extent in which a flat structure was appropriate under Kirsten, and to the extent in which a hierarchical structure is suitable under Chaffinch Group. So when you're evaluating, you're looking at strengths and weaknesses, but they want you to focus on why the decisions were correct, why they were appropriate. And as you can see, a flat organizational structure, hierarchical organizational structure. I haven't highlighted the non-bureaucratic, non-hierarchical and stuff like that because it's a flat organizational structure, it's hierarchical. So think about it, 42 people directly reporting to you, could you deal with that? But it was appropriate, so why was it appropriate? Maybe it's because of how she managed and stuff like that. So research into the organizational structures, research how you do it. Now, as we go forward in these units, we have what we call a study plan to help you guide your way through. So your question here is AC1.1. Your verb is evaluate, so you're looking at the strengths and weaknesses. Is the scenario required? Yes, we know in this particular set of questions, the scenario is very much required. Your word count is 379. You can round that up to a solid 380. And your action points is evaluating a flat organizational structure and evaluating a hierarchical organizational structure. Then what you need to do is find some references that talk about why they're beneficial, that explains why they're beneficial and why they're appropriate for different sections and different structures of a business. So why is a flat organizational structure appropriate? Why is a hierarchical organization appropriate? For the 2 points of the different businesses. Remember, Chaffinch Group's big business. And Carmere House previously was smaller business. Why are these different? Why are these appropriate in these situations? What evidence can you find that demonstrates it's appropriate? Evidence-based answering is what CIPD are looking for within these questions. Now, as always, here is an example of one filled out so that you can sort of do this. By all means, pause, just write it in a pad, structure your work out that way. This is what's called answer planning. If you plan out your answers, you're going to not. And you cover these elements, you're a lot less likely to miss a key element or miss something that, and not answer the question appropriately, which is why we've got these study plans. These are the plans that our learning coaches will work with you. If you're studying with HRC Online and you're like, I don't know what to do, they will work through these with you. So that you can sort of have a structure and have a plan for your answer. Now, we're not just going to leave it there. We're also going to give you some recommended reading. What I really like, AIHR, flat organizational structure. It's got a really load of detail and it's got some nice structure. It's got some nice examples about how it's used, and it's got some nice references that it makes reference to for you to read further into it. AIHR, hierarchical structure, or hierarchy structure as they refer to it. These are the two structures that you've been referred to in your case study. So yeah, of course, but you do need to sort of understand more of different organizational designs and different organizational structures. So the CIPD fact sheet on organization design is also another brilliant article for you to read, because why is it appropriate? Sometimes you might need to review all the different types of organizational structures. You go, well, actually, that one's the best for them because of X, and that one's the best for them because of Y, and that one's the best for them because of that. And so that's why we've got these recommended organizational structures for you to read. Now, that support doesn't just end there. If you need to bite size, what we also do is we create a bit of a fictitious scenario, an irrelevant, a story, not irrelevant, but a fictitious story to try and help you look at the question from a completely different angle. Try and help you understand what point they're trying to put across with this question or the elements of it, but coming at it from a different angle so that you can try and understand the question a little bit better, because the only way that most people refer on this is they don't answer the question to its fullest extent. And for this one, we're going to tell you the tale of two kingdoms, Flatlandia and Hierarchia. Long ago in the realm of Organizatia, two kingdoms set out on a quest to create a crystal of clarity, a magical gem that would heal and guide any who held it. The kingdom of Flatlandia was a flat open meadow. There were no towers. There was no skyscrapers in the sky. No tiles weighed on the shoulders. Everyone, Majors, Smiths, Scouts, gathered in a great hall where decisions were made together. When the crystal's energy flickered one evening, it was Lyra, a young apprentice with no rank, who bravely spoke up. What if we moved the moon reed into the crystal to stabilize it? The others listened, debated, and by sunrise they'd tried it. And it worked. Flatlandia thrived on quick action, a shared voice, high trust and collaboration, creativity flowing freely. But as the kingdom grew and more joined the cause, confusion set in. Without clear rules, some tasks were repeated, others forgotten, and arguments over who should lead began to brew. To the far east, hierarchical rose in tiers like a mountain, with knights, scholars, advisedly neatly ranked under the wise Queen Regulia. Every decision flowed from the top to the bottom with careful planning and precision. And while the crystal wavered, Queen Regulia summoned her chain of command, the High Enchanter and the reported Grand Council, who gathered up from below to progress in a steady task. The master hierarchy flourished with clear order and responsibility, scalability for complex missions, and efficiency in execution. But when Thorn, a lowly stable boy, dreamed up a clever idea to amplify the crystal's power using Phoenix Ash, his voice was buried beneath layers of protocol. By the time it reached the top, Flatlandia had already used the same idea and won the admiration of many. Eventually, the two kingdoms met, not in battle, but in mutual respect. Flatlandia adopted councils and tasks to avoid chaos and confusion. Hierarchy created open forums for voice and circle so anyone, regardless of title, could share ideas quickly. Together, they created the perfect crystal of clarity, a blend of bold action and wise order. And everybody lived happily ever after. I feel like that should be the end of it there. But again, it's just trying to give you an idea about, how does everyone having a voice work really well in Flatlandia? How does an organizational structure and an escalation work well in hierarchy? How can they both have drawbacks? How do they both have strengths and weaknesses? And if you think about where the organization was when it was Calmere House and where it is now as Chaffinch Group, would the number of voices that you've got in Chaffinch Group do well in Flatlandia? Or would it be Calmere House that would do well in Flatlandia and Chaffinch Group in hierarchy? And that's the purpose of it. Absolutely best of luck with this question. This has gone on a little bit longer than normal, so I'm going to leave it there. And we will catch you on the next one. Take care.